Check this out, y'all. Helicopter has been circling this area for ages now. Just around and around and around. Got a couple of stories today for you. Some new clues in the Delphi case and potentially in the Summer Wells case. When I say new clues, right, let's preface this by saying these are new to me. Both of these stories are a few days old and other people will have reported on them. But noisy. Freight trains are very noisy. The stories are new to me because I'm so far behind with everything because of the craziness of the last week, with kind of everything happening in cases that I'm covering. I've just not been able to just look at regular stories that are not breaking news. The potential new update in the investigation into the double murder of school friends Abby and Libby in Delphi, Indiana, 2017. Not been confirmed by police, but it's been discussed on the Murder Sheet podcast, who are on it with this case. So some people contacted the Murder Sheet to say there's been a police search of a riverbed in Peru, Indiana, which is just a handful of miles away from Kegan Kline's residence. He's in jail now, but where he was living at the time of the murders. Kegan Kline's a big deal. He was in contact with Libby on the day of the murders. Him and his dad are up to some really shady stuff. Now, I know Kegan and Tony Kline are not everybody's number one suspects, but they are mine, to be honest. The Delphi has got so many theories, and people are very invested in this person or that person or the other person. I'm not so heavily invested in this case that I'm going to, stake my life that I think Kegan and or Tony did it. But there's some alarming things about them too that they just set off alarm bells for me. But yeah, they're searching this riverbed. Now, the police haven't confirmed whether this is in relation to the Delphi investigation at all, whether it's anything at all to do with Kegan Kline. Could be looking for something else, right? But it's also alleged that Indiana State Police want to take custody of Kegan Kline. He's currently in a county jail. He's currently sitting there. But, yeah, so, I don't know. Nothing might come of it. It could be something, could be nothing. Just have to follow that one and wait and see. So, the second story, the second potential new clues in the Summer Wells case. Now, this video is a few days old on the Pink Dahlia's channel, and she did a short interview with a man called Justin that apparently she didn't know she just met. She got talking to, and he used to live in Rogersville. He was a conference one time, don't know how long ago, and sitting behind him was a law enforcement official. Now, he didn't say what type of law enforcement official, whether it's a police officer, search and rescue, a support person, but this person, this law enforcement person, was brought in to assist on the search for Summer Wells and said a couple of interesting things. So, firstly, the 55-gallon barrels that we know Don talked about. They used to put their toilet waste in these barrels because they didn't have a flushable toilet. So they put like toilet paper in these barrels. And the searchers, when they searched the property, weren't allowed to search these barrels. So, you know, well, that's a bit suspicious, isn't it? That we've heard that the property's been searched 7 times or 9 times, Candice said once, the entire property. We've been told by the TBI that the whole of that property has been gone over with a fine-tooth comb again and again and again. A couple of days later, when guys went back to the property, these barrels had completely disappeared. So here's what I think's happened. Not that Don and Candice have removed them, but they've been professionally removed, because you wouldn't be allowed to search barrels like just your regular on-the-ground searchers, even if you're law enforcement. You're not going to be allowed to search through human waste without specialist equipment because of the risk of disease. So it's my guess, and it is only a guess, that this wasn't removed, these barrels weren't removed nefariously. They were removed by law enforcement. They were removed so that they could be looked through. What a job. They could be looked through in a controlled environment. So that's my guess. Now, I'm sorry it's not salacious as some channels are making it, but that's my guess, right? Believe it or not, I might be completely wrong. Might be 100% wrong. It's worth a ponder that not everything that we see on the internet, that we're told on the internet, even if it's true, has got a nefarious reason. There can be a very logical and serious reason for it. This law enforcement official also said that, it was talk amongst them. Now, this is obviously not necessarily talk from the top. This is talk from the ranks. Is that the parents in some way are involved. That was their hunch. They couldn't get over it. That there was something that they weren't able to put their fingers on, something that was kind of bugging them as they were, taking part in searches. They believed that Summer was trafficked. Now, in April, when the lead investigator of Hawkins County, Detective John Pruitt, spoke out and said there was no evidence of Summer being trafficked, taken out of the area. He said there's no evidence of it. Doesn't mean to say they don't think it happened, but there's no evidence of it. They couldn't pin evidence on that theory. So what can they do if there's no evidence? There's no evidence of anything, is there? Right, so this is why they stuck with the wandering away scenario for so long, because there's no evidence of anything. But there was talk amongst officers. They thought she'd been trafficked, not necessarily by the parents themselves, but by criminal kind of elements connected to the parents. A debt or something along those lines. A debt had to be paid. Well, we know Don's talked about that in the past, don't we? He said that the TBI thought he'd sold his daughter for drugs. Remember the story of him going to Knoxville and giving away $2,000 worth of coke to prove to the TBI that he didn't need to sell his daughter for money. Yeah, that. Maybe they did think he'd sold his daughter for drugs, they just can't prove it. They just can't prove it. That's all. I don't know. Don't know what to think. Now, this guy on Pink Dahlia's channel sounded genuine. Looked like a nice guy. Could have been spinning a complete yarn. Why? If you're spinning a complete yarn, wouldn't you tell a more fantastical story? So I'm inclined to believe him, that this is what he'd heard. Of course, this is just rumour. This is second-hand information. But isn't that all we've got? Isn't that all we've ever had in this case? Honestly. Yeah, it is. So, there's that. Too many people out today. At least that helicopter's gone. Don't know what was going on there. Right, I'm going to leave you be. Go and check out my live that I did yesterday over on Michelle Walks in relation to the Michael Vaughan case. It's quite a long live for me, 2.5 hours. So if you like longer lives, then perhaps you'll like that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I've been Michelle, hope you're well. See you in the next video. Goodbye from Miss Tillington, who's got to stay here because there's a dog right behind me. And Miss Cassie Springer. And bye from that dog as well.